This is a Cherokee legend. A long, long time ago, trees and animals were able to talk to each other. They lived together and shared many things. But every year, when the cold weather came, the birds had to fly south from where they returned only in the spring when the warm season returned. Once, when the cold season was approaching, the sparrow was injured and he was not strong enough to fly with his family and had to leave without him. Since he was injured, he had to find a good shelter for the winter. So he decided to ask the trees for help. He approached the oak tree. "Oh, oak, I'm hurt and I cannot fly. The cold season is approaching, and if I don't find refuge before, I certainly won't survive. Please shelter me amongst your leaves and branches during the cold." But Oak, a grumpy old one, did not like the idea of having a guest during cold weather and replied, "Look for another place. I don't want to spend the winter with you." The sparrows sadly then went to the maple tree and asked, "Maple, I'm hurt and I cannot fly to the warm lands with my family. Please shelter me among your leaves and branches during the cold weather, or I will certainly die." The maple, despite being a very sweet tree, did not like the idea of spending the winter with him and also refused to help him. Again, the very sad sparrow walked away. He went to all trees with the same request, and one by one refused to shelter the little sparrow. Looking around, the only tree left was the evergreen. Hopeless, but not wanting to give up, he went to the pine tree. "Pine, please, I am hurt and I cannot fly south to the warm lands. If I don't find shelter before the cold weather, I will certainly die. Please let me live among your leaves and branches during the cold weather." Pine heard the sparrow. "My leaves are tiny, mere needles. I don't have as many branches or other trees, but what I have, I would gladly share with you." And so the sparrow spent the winter with Pine. When spring returned, the birds returned. The sparrow, already healed, flew to greet his family. The Creator, who had seen it all, called a meeting of trees and said to them, "You who were given so much, who had so much, shared nothing with poor Sparrow. So from this day on, when the weather is cold, your leaves will die and be blown away." Then he turned to Pine. "Pine, you who had less to offer, touched my heart. And when the cold weather comes, your leaves will not fall and will remain green in all seasons of the year in recognition of your noble gesture." And that is why, until today, when the cold weather reaches the land, the leaves wither, die, and are blown by the wind, except those of the pine who are evergreen.